legend of Nai Khanom Tom, the father of Muay Thai, was set during the Burmese invasion of 1767. The Burmese king, Lord Mangra, and his army ransacked Thailand's magnificent temples and stole many Thai treasures. Many of those who tried to defend the city were taken as slaves. Among them was Nai Khanom Tom. Every year on March 17th, Thailand celebrates Nai Khanom Tom Day. There are several different names for this celebration, such as National Muay Thai Boron Day, National Muay Thai Day, or Boxers Day. Muay Thai is the national sport of Thailand, but this celebration is not just about Muay Thai. It's a commemorative day to honor and give homage to the great Nai Khanom Tom and all the ancient teachers who developed Muay Boran into the contemporary Muay Thai, the art of the 8 limbs. According to legend, in 1774, Nai Khanom Tom was one of the thousands of Siamese prisoners being held by the Burmese king Mangra after the Burmese invasion of the Ainat Dayak kingdom. On the occasion of a Burmese festival, the king wanted to see if the Muay Boran could be compared with the Burmese boxing, and Nai Khanom Tom was selected to fight against the Burmese boxing champion. After the ritual of the Waikaru, it should be noted that the Burmese thought this was some sort of Thai black magic. Nai Khanom Tom fought the Burmese boxing champion and won by a knockout. The referee claimed that the win was not valid because he was distracted by the music and felt that this might be some sort of Thai sorcery. The king sent another 9 fighters, one by one, without a break between fights. They were all put on the ground by the hands, knees, and elbows of Nai Khanom Tom. The king, impressed by these abilities, said, "Every part of the Siamese is blessed with venom. Even with his bare hands, he can fell 9 or 10 opponents. But his lord was incompetent and lost his country to the enemy. If he had been any good, there was no way the city of Ainat would ever have fallen." He then granted freedom to Nai Khanom Tom and all Siamese. It is said that this was on March 17th, and since then, Nai Khanom Tom has been hailed as the father of Muay Thai. By winning freedom, he made his fighting system known and feared. The story is between legend and history, but it's very famous among Thais, making them proud of their very own martial art. Nai Khanom Tom is a Muay Thai hero for the country, and every fighter looks up to him with great respect. History teaches us that the achievements of Nai Khanom Tom during the year of 1767 marked a change in how the Thais were viewed by the Burmese. The Burmese king Mangra gathered many Siamese and moved them to Burma as prisoners. Among those who were enslaved were quite a few Thai boxers. Once there, the king wanted to see how Muay Boran would compare to the Burmese martial art of Let Hi, or Burmese boxing, having among the prisoners many renowned Muay Thai fighters. Nai Khanom Tom was then selected to fight against the Burmese champion, forming the Waikaru before the start of the fight in order to pay respect to his trainers and ancestors, as well as the spectators and everyone involved in the event. Nai Khanom Tom impressed everyone and won freedom for the Siamese people. The first Thai army was created in the northern city of Sukhothai, Siam being its capital. The recorded history shows that a need to defend the capital city was spawned by many wars being fought between neighboring tribes and kingdoms. The Siamese army was created to protect the government and its inhabitants within the city and surrounding villages. Soldiers were taught hand-to-hand combat and how to use weapons, as well as how to use the entire body as a weapon. Their training is what eventually evolved into Muay Thai and Krabai Krabang. Learning the military arts or Muay Thai became ingrained in the culture of the early Siamese people. With constant threat of war, training centers slowly began to appear throughout the kingdom. These were the first Muay Thai camps. Young men practiced the art form for various reasons: self-defense, exercise, discipline. Monks even instructed at many Buddhist temples, passing down knowledge and history from one generation to the next. As Muay Thai became popular with the poor and common people, it also became a required staple for the high class and royalty. The two sons of King Phokunsiri and Taratit, the first king of Sukhothai, were sent to learn at the Samakorn Training Center. The common idea was that good warriors made brave leaders, and this would prepare them for the future and as rulers of the kingdom. King Rama V realized the value of Muay Thai and did much to promote the sport from the late 1880s to the turn of the century. He promoted tournaments and Muay Luang, also called royally appointed boxing centers throughout the kingdom, which often served as a way for him to find personal guards or royal officers when a fighter was victorious. Oftentimes, the top fighters at a royal Muay Thai center would be given personal invitations by the king to fight at tournaments, festivals, and important international events. The Department of Education was created in 1887, with Muay Thai as part of the military cadet teachers' school curriculum. Muay Thai has progressed significantly over the past 100 years. Due to the noticeable national popularity, it began to garner international recognition and exposure. In World War II, after formally being introduced to Muay Thai, foreigners named it Siam Boxing, as Thailand was formerly known as Siam. The French labeled it as Le Sport d'Orient, or the fighting style of the Orient. Soldiers from Europe and America would watch attentively as Thai soldiers practiced Muay Thai amongst themselves. They were also impressed with the style of fighting that they asked the soldiers to teach them the fundamentals and traditions of Muay Thai. As it became more popular internationally, the rules began to change so it could be better organized and governed, like established sports such as boxing. In the 1920s, rings were introduced to replace the open courtyards, which ultimately planted the roots of modern Muay Thai. The first formal rules were introduced to the sport of Muay Thai after World War II ended. Fights were divided into 5 rounds, with a time limit on each. A clock was used to determine the length of each round instead of a coconut shell with holes sinking in a barrel of water. And major Muay Thai stadiums were erected in large cities throughout the country, namely Bangkok, Sukhothai, and Chiang Mai. Bangkok's Lumpini Stadium is now almost considered the holy ground to the masses of Muay Thai fighters, local and foreign. An integrated system of weight classes, absolute rules, and championships were brought to life in the years ahead as the organization of the sport began to resemble boxing. This concludes our quick look at the legend of Nai Khanom Tom in Thai culture. We sincerely hope you enjoyed it. If you ever find yourself in the Kingdom of Thailand, please consider looking into this aspect of Thai legend. If you found this video entertaining or informative, please give us a like and subscribe. Also, if you would like to help support us, please find the link to our Patreon page below. We have provided affiliate links in the description for hotel, travel, and car rentals. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you would like us to cover any places or topics related to Thailand or Southeast Asia, just ask and we will try to accommodate you as quickly as possible. Until next time, thanks for watching.